The Queen of Bluegrass and latest Grand Ole Opry member, Rhonda Vincent, joining us on the Music Universe podcast.
I love bluegrass, don't you, buddy?
Yes, it's so cool to sit back and relax with it.
Bluegrass to me feels like open air, just like you're on the porch. Really. Even though
it epitomizes the country lifestyle, in my opinion.
It really does. And there are some people that are bluegrass traditionalists that think, oh, bluegrass has to be a certain way. Then you get people like Rhonda Vincent who imbue it with some kind of country music. Then you get other people like Dan Tyminski who are doing electrical things with it. And Dan, somebody I want to try. I could actually text him. I have his number. We could get him. There's a whole area of bluegrass. There's different niches, and it's really, really fun. And Rhonda was so down to earth, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah. She was so sweet. She called us from her new home in Missouri and was just super cool and chatted with us, and it was just great to hear from her.
Rhonda Vincent, welcome to the Music Universe podcast. How are you on this fine quarantine day, last day of March?
You know, we're in the best possible place. We moved to the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. I've lived in Missouri, but we moved to the Lake of the Ozarks last September. And it is a beautiful place to be. We've been fishing. My husband fishes every day, no matter how warm or cold it is. We have a beautiful view of the water. It's there's houses around, but it's still very secluded. So it's a wonderful place for isolation, and we're just eating too much, really. We're eating a lot, but enjoying each other's company. You know, it's not something, because I'm on the road so much, this is not something that we get to do very often. So we're just kind of enjoying the time, knowing that's not going to last for always. So we're enjoying the time while we can.
Well, good. And I'm a Missouri boy myself. I'm from near Farmington. Yeah, near Farmington, and I used to go to Lake of the Ozarks every summer, so I know how beautiful it is.
Yes, you know exactly where I am.
Oh, yeah.
Little tangential, but if you have a Netflix subscription, have you been watching Ozark? It's on season 3, one of my favorite shows. I love
It's
it.
Great.
That is so funny, because since we moved here, we had a house here, but since we moved here, everybody says it's like, have you seen this show? And ironically, around the corner is a church that has the cross and the church outside. It's one of the kids. Mm-hmm. It's not the one from the show, but I think it's based on that. So I want to go over there and get a picture with that, because everybody talks about that show. And I think I need to. This is a perfect time to get to watch that and catch up on that, isn't it?
It is.
It is. Now, I want to ask you, because it's been years since I've been there. Do they have a casino?
No.
Did they ever add? Okay. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
It really, it's kind of unique, because most of the lakes that I see in Tennessee are Corps of Engineer lakes. And so you can't build your house on the water. I mean, we literally are right on the water. We have a dock, we have boats, and we basically can walk from our house just a few steps, and we're on the water. So, and I think that's one of the attractions here. That's why there's so many people who move here. And, that's the thing with right now, with the virus and everything. So kids are home from school, people aren't working, so they're coming to their summer home early. My husband likes to fish, and he doesn't like all the big boats and all the traffic, because it makes the water so much rougher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's not very happy, because all these people are coming down here and coming to their home at the Lake of the Ozarks. So,
well, yeah, my parents had a close family friend that used to own a house right on Osage Beach. You literally walk down some stairs. You were at his boat dock. You were in the water. The only thing he said not to do was to dive, because people would literally throw their Christmas trees right there at the dock, and it would be just under the water. So you get poked if you go under.
You really do need to know where anytime you dive in something, you need to know what you're diving into. But right now, and see, this is owned by the power company, by Ameren.
Oh, wow.
And so they let the water, it's way down right now. They control the water level. So you would, in some places, their docks are sitting on dry land right now. So that's
Oh,
something that
wow.
you would really want to watch. Yeah, it's I didn't real I'm learning so much being here because it's like, why is it like that? And he goes, well, they've let the water out, or they haven't let the water out yet. So I'm learning a lot about lake life because I've never really lived on the water or at the lake before. So, but I'm enjoying it so much.
Well, glad you're enjoying it. One thing I know that was postponed for you, while you have to enjoy all of this time at home, is your Opry induction. Congratulations on that invitation right there at the end of February, and then 2 weeks later, the world shuts down. Had a date been planned? Has that been moved? Uh, where are we on you actually getting inducted as a member of the Grand Ole Opry?
Well, I received the invitation on February 28th,
Hmm.
and it was scheduled for March 24th. That has been postponed. I got a
Right.
really nice note from the Opry. Dan said, "Do not worry. We're going to when everything passes and we're back at the Opry, we're going to have a big blowout and we're going to really do it upright." So um, we haven't got anything rescheduled right now. I mean, they don't even know when they're going to be opening the Opry. Shows are being canceled, postponed. I just saw where they have canceled the CMA Music Fest.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know when that's going to be. I'm just, you know what? This is a lifelong dream for me. I am just thrilled that I'm going to be an Opry member. Or he said, I guess I already am, and they gave me the invitation, but it'll be truly official whenever I get to stand on that stage and they induct me. But in fact, they said they were going to send my membership card, so I'm going to watch for that.
Oh, nice. Well, that's going to be definitely you've earned that. You're known as the Queen of Bluegrass. You've worked with everyone, including Elton John, Bernie Taupin, and Dolly Parton. So definitely earned, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I listened to the Opry all of my life. I mean, my parents, but with music is traced back 5 generations of the Vincent family. So this is a
Mm.
family. It's not just my dream, but it's a family dream. And I think I've been doing a bit of research. My brother Darren is a member of Daly and Vincent. We might be maybe the first brother and sister to have separate Opry memberships is what we're thinking, but I haven't heard that
Well,
officially. That's something that if somebody wants to do the research, we need to figure that out.
Well, I wanted to ask with they always choose somebody that means something to the artist getting the invitation to do the surprise. What does Jeannie Seeley mean to you that made it special that she was the one to give you that Opry invitation?
She wrote my latest single, "Like I Could," with
hmm.
Aaron Enderlin and Bobby Tomberlin, and from
Yes.
that we have become such great friends. And I mean, dining, hanging out in Nashville when we were actually in a limo, and when she sang me "Like I Could" soon after she had written it, but not expecting me to say I love this and I want to record it. And I was shocked when she said she was so surprised. She even texted me. She goes, "Are you sure?" It's kind of like me when she invited me to be a member of the Opera. I'm like, "Are you serious?" So from that, it really nurtured a friendship well beyond an Opry membership or a song or just they are wonderful people. Jeannie and Gene, her husband, are wonderful people. My husband and Gene, we always say how much they are alike, and they get along great. So it's just a friendship beyond the Opry that has developed. And so she's a very special person to me, as is Jeannie Pruitt. And, I think a lot of them were allies for me and for the membership. Jeannie Pruitt has long been a friend and an ally. And then just recently, Jan Howard passed away. And some people were telling me, and I guess I wasn't aware of that as much, but she was a great ally in that. And when she found out, I mean, and this is just a week or so ago before she passed, she called Dan Rogers and thanked him for making me a member of the Grand Ole Opry. I mean, that is just so very special to stand on the stage, with Jeannie Seeley and Jeannie Pruitt. She said, "I'm going to be at your induction." So, years ago, there used to be, the women just had one dressing room backstage at the Opry. And I love
Mhm.
that. When I first started going to the Opry, I mean, there's nothing like sitting in, you're getting to sit in the dressing room with these people who are your heroes. And they're loaning you earrings. They're like, "Oh, I have earrings. I didn't grow up with any sisters. So I had never had that experience before. But here I am in the dressing room with Connie Smith and Jeannie Seeley and Jeannie Pruitt and the background singers, Nora Lee and Carol Lee, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to borrow this? And would you want?" So it was a wonderful. It's a sisterhood, and that's what she calls me, her Opry sister, and I really get it now.
Oh, absolutely. And I know the country music community is such a tight knit group of people. And, we lost obviously Jan Howard, Joe Diffie suddenly to COVID-19, and Kenny Rogers the week before that. Just curious how the country music community stands together and what you think we can do to kind of beat this thing.
Right. I mean, stay home, and we just all have to do our part. I know
Mhm.
it's if you're in a place where we can walk about our yard and it's a nice location to do that. But if you're in an apartment or someplace where you can't do that, it's still important. You've got to stay in, and you got to really think about others. I mean, I just heard that Ray Vincent from Asleep at the Wheel, now he has it. We just have to,
Mhm.
if they don't look out for themselves, we have to look out for them. You know, just be careful. It can affect anyone and everyone. So it's important that we do our part. A friend of mine in North Carolina, he's making the masks, and he just sent me a
Oh
musical
wow.
mask that I can wear. So if we have to go to the grocery store, I know they said unless you were, you needed to be sick to wear a mask, but I'm wearing it anyway. I think it's better to be safe,
Oh
and I
yeah,
think
I
everyone should
agree.
do that.
I agree. And to Buddy's point, I'm just curious because you talk about the Opry family, the Opry sisterhood, these slew of diagnoses and passings, some from COVID-19, some not, in the country music community right now. How is that affecting the Opry family? What have the conversations been? I mean, have you all been trying to lift each other's spirits in this time? What's going on in that Opry family during this difficult time?
I think it was probably just a incredible awareness, a sadness, um, and more than anything, just a shock. A lot of times you think, "Oh, that would never be me," or "That's not," that couldn't be me. And I think it's a realization, and people are going, "This is serious." If you didn't take it serious before, I think it's something that has brought an awareness to the Opry family, to the country music family, that
Mhm.
listen, this is serious. And a lot of times I think, as an artist, and you have management, you have all of these insulators that are between you and really reality. And this is not, it doesn't care if you're a country music, if you're a Grand Ole Opry star, if you're a country music star, or who you are or what you are. This is something that's very real, and we all need to really look out for.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And now, speaking of country music, speaking of music, let's talk about your music. You are one of my favorite bluegrass artists,
One
one
of
of
my
my
favorite
favorite
Oh, thank
artists
artists in
in
you.
general.
general.
Your voice is just amazing. Your talent is amazing. But there's this debate. I always like to ask when somebody is in a niche of the genre. There's this debate about bluegrass purism versus country music purism, or bluegrass combined with country. And you've collaborated with a lot of different artists across the scope and across niches within that country music world. Hello, you hear me? Okay. Sorry. I was saying that you've collaborated with so many artists across the country music sphere of those different niches. What do you make when people try to pigeonhole you and your music as one particular thing?
Well, I think that's what I love about the music industry, is that there are the collaborations. I mean, what are the chances? Well, number one, of ever getting to meet Dolly Parton, or to
Mhm.
meet Elton John or Bernie Taupin, to call Bernie Taupin a personal friend, is just, that's my number one thing about the music industry, and the music business, is getting to collaborate and becoming friends with these people. Um, for me, for a lot of years, because I grew up in this musical family, it was country music. This was years ago. So the music that we played was considered country music. There was a mix of bluegrass, country, gospel, and that's kind of the way we present our show now. It's a little bit of everything, but I think it's whoever you really talk to. For a long time, people said, "Are you country? Or are you bluegrass?" And so I didn't really know myself. I was very confused for a lot of years. And then all of a sudden I put together my first bluegrass band, and we opened shows for George Jones in a country music setting. Now this was Salem, Virginia, and we opened the show for him. The crowd just went wild. I came off stage. I went out. I said, I'll be out signing. We have our merchandise. We took, a few boxes of CDs. In a period of about 20 minutes before George came on, we sold out of every CD. People, it was almost like a movie with money in slow motion and cellophane from the CDs flying everywhere. And the people, I will never forget that defining moment. And they said, I'm with a bluegrass band, and they said, we love your country music. And so I learned that it was the perception of the listener. Do they think you're country? Do they think you're bluegrass? I know what I am, but when someone listens to it, they might perceive it totally different. I have a lot of husbands who will bring their wives to the show, and they'll say, you know what, she doesn't like bluegrass, but she likes you. And so, okay, whatever you really want to call it, or vice versa. So that happens sometimes. And, we're not your typical, it's not Bill Monroe. It's probably, I like to think that we honor the tradition of the music, but, it has more of a fresh contemporary sound. So I think we have something for everybody, and our demographics are a little wider because of it.
Absolutely. And one thing that our listeners may not have known about you is that you actually started your professional career at the age of 5 by playing drums.
That's right. That's right. I was playing in the family band when I was 5. We had a television show, a radio show, made our first recording, and so it was not like a choice. It was like on the job training. My dad would pick me up from school every day. We played till dinner. After dinner, friends came over, and we played till bedtime. So it was a wonderful life with my family. And it eventually became my mom and dad and I. We were the Sally Mountain Trio, and then my brothers came along. So started this early on, and I just grew to love it.
I absolutely love that. And you've collaborated with so many people. I mean, I think the list of people you haven't collaborated with is shorter than the list of people that you have. And I'm curious, is there anybody you haven't that you absolutely like? I would love to see you, if you haven't already and I've missed it, I'd love to see you collaborate with Dan Tominski. But is there anybody that you want to collaborate with that you haven't gotten a chance to yet?
Yes, there is. And it's not in country music so much. James Taylor.
Oh.
I've been to so many of his shows. I have never gotten to meet him. And I'm thinking to myself, I have got to find at some point, I would love to record a song with him. And I found my connection, somebody that has his phone number. And I said, you know what? That's another thing to me. You've got to be very careful with it that I've learned. It's like, okay, when you can call up Jeannie Seeley or you can call up Bernie Taupin, that's something that I don't want to ever take advantage of.
Right.
But Bernie Taupin said he has James Taylor's personal phone number. So when the time's right, I'm gonna reach out to Bernie and say, Bernie, I have a song. Would you call James Taylor for me? So I'm hoping at some point that we can do that. But because I love James Taylor.
In there, sorry to jump on you, both of you, Buddy and Rhonda there, but you just highlighted something that's very important to me. It's kind of a life philosophy for me, and I know for Buddy as well. You have to be careful, but you don't have to stand on ceremony or stand on eggshells. If you want something and you find the avenue to go for it, you only get one life, and it never hurts to ask, because the only thing somebody can say is no. You have to go for it, and that is so smart and thank you for sharing with us that thought process there, that when the time is right, you're going to ask Bernie about that, because that's important, and not a lot of people understand that it's that kind of persistence is key to success.
My dad always said, don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. You just figure out a way to do it. And speaking of collaborations and the way that the business interacts. So this is years ago, we were in Las Vegas going to see, my daughters and I, to see Carrot Top. Have you seen him?
I love him. Yes. Yeah.
I love it. So in his show, he has the song, the Alan Jackson song, "Where I Come From, There's Cornbread and Chicken." So he uses that in his show. I'm singing harmony on that. And so I wrote, this is back when he was at the MGM Hotel. The sound guy was in the middle of the room. And so I wrote a note. I said, "Oh, my goodness, I'm singing in your show. I'm the one singing harmony with Alan Jackson on Where I Come From, and we would just love to say hello." That opened a door that allowed us to go back, and we got to say, we've met him, I guess, 3 times, and just we're such fans of his. But it's only because of Alan Jackson singing on that project that I would have probably ever gotten to do that.
Oh, yeah, that's great. I know that we've had opportunities only because we've asked. Had we not, we wouldn't have known. But I am curious how the Elton John Bernie Taupin friendship came about with you.
Well, Bernie Taupin, his favorite music is bluegrass music, and we're his favorite bluegrass band. We were playing out in San Ynez, out by near where he lives in California, and I got a call, and it said, "Bernie Taupin is coming to your show, and he'd like to take you to dinner." That was my first meeting with him, but from that, we just formed this. It is so funny because we were sitting at dinner in Nashville, and someone that I know well walks up and is talking to Bernie, and Bernie said, "Oh, do you know Rhonda Vincent?" And he looks at me and says, "Rhonda Vincent, that plays bluegrass?" And and I said, yes, it's me. And they looked at me like, he said, "How do you know Bernie Taupin?" Like it was the most, they didn't even think it was me because they thought it was the most unlikely place for me to be, which really cracked me up. It's like, yes, but Bernie's he's a huge bluegrass fan. And when we got to sing on the Elton John Bernie Taupin tribute, I figured, I was afraid they would take me and say, "Okay, we want you to sing, please, but we're going to produce the music in the studio." And I was so thrilled. He said, "No, we want you to take the song and make it into a bluegrass song and record it with your band and do it exactly like you would do it if you were, doing it yourself and doing it on your show." So what a wonderful song. And then to get to sing it with Dolly, of course, is just the best.
Oh my
that
gosh,
is an
Dolly
awesome story.
There's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and I think in country music there needs to be 6 degrees of Dolly Parton, because I know people coming from that have performed at Dollywood or that have collaborated with her on one thing or another. She's just killer. I love her to death.
She is the best. Did you see that she's going to be reading bedtime stories for kids? I think it's going to end up being a lot more than kids, but that's her gesture at calming families is so amazing.
Yeah, I saw that and ended up publishing an article about that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they're going to have more than just kids. Probably going to be reading to a lot of adults and big country music fans.
All of the adults. Yeah. Now, to close this out, because I know we only got a couple of minutes left here, I just want to ask, we've been asking everybody, how are you taking this quarantine time, this isolation time? I hate calling it quarantine because there's no federal mandate, but anyway, to be creative. Are you writing? Are you recording in a home studio? What are you doing with your music and your artistry during this time off the road?
Well, I had intentions of writing. I have several projects that I was hoping to have the time for, sort of not necessarily in music, but some of them are related to like photo projects and things. So my mother, in fact, sent box after box of old photos. So that's one of my many projects that I'm trying to do, just catching up on paperwork. We moved to the lake, and I hadn't sat down to just fix it, changing my address in so many places, and just a lot of things like that. And every day I think, I've already been here, a month? And you would think I would be totally caught up, but I'm not. I really started cooking, and my husband is thrilled about that because he always says I'm never home to cook for him. And so I've just started meal planning and just sleeping. The other day, I slept 11 hours, and then I took a nap, and he's like, oh, my goodness, you are taking this resting up way too seriously. But I really think it's kind of good in a way, and I think it's healthy that I'm resting, and more than anything, I'm at peace and I'm not worried. I put my faith in God, and I know that He always has a perfect plan. And I see people on Facebook, and they're frantic, and they're scared to death. And it's like, you know what? If you just put your faith in God, He always has the best plan, and you just really have to believe that. A Sunday school lesson from my church the other day, I did it on a Facebook Live, and she's 91 years old, and her whole theme of this was just keep looking up, because if you just keep looking up, you just keep the faith. And so I think more than anything, I'm just thrilled. I'm home. I'm with my husband. I know this won't be, this next thing you know, we're going to be on the road. I'm going to be tired. I wish I had some time at home. So I'm really trying to put myself in a frame of mind and be thankful for this time, be at peace, and just let God's plan take us through.
That's
well,
all
Rhonda,
you can
Vincent,
do.
absolutely. And I think you have a song title there for a new gospel album, Keep Looking Up. I love that.
Oh, I like it.
And I love.
You call me anytime. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Rhonda. Now we could have went on for hours with her.
Oh my gosh, I just felt like I made a new best friend.
And the list of people she knows and has worked with is just massive. It's unbelievable.
Country gets a rap, country, but you never know who listens to country, especially hardcore stuff like.
Oh yeah, I was surprised, but that was super cool, and I love the stories that she told. Just congratulations to her. It's well deserved that she's the newest Grand Ole Opry member, and hopefully they will be able to move on with her induction ceremony and get that taken care of before too long.
100%. All right, until next time, I'm Matt.
And I'm Buddy for the Music Universe podcast. Thanks for listening, and keep checking out the latest news at themusicuniverse.com.